Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Thunderous Slogan here, and in this video I'm going to be going over many tips you will likely want to know within Jailbreak, which could help your playing experience in the game be a lot better. Now, most of these tips aren't actually by me. A good majority of these tips are by a friend of mine named Edmund. So a lot of the credit goes to Edmund for providing most of these tips for me to present in this video, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into them. Okay, so starting off with tip 1. The glider is the most underrated thing in the game. Like, it's completely free and you can use it in the corridor vault in the bank as a shortcut. You could also use the glider for, like, getting away from cops. You can use the glider like to get away from cops, let's say on the top of a jewelry store where you can't use a jetpack there, so yeah, I do recommend, having gliders on you, because you might need it at one point. Okay, moving on to a tip 2, always organize your weapon order. Like, don't copy my loadout, don't copy anyone else's loadout, just go for your own setup. Like, everyone's different, and this will make switching between weapons a whole lot easier. Okay, so tip 3, whenever your car starts spinning around, like aka UFO mode, quote unquote, just hold the A or D key and it will stop it. And moving on to tip 4, never buy the Volt Bike as your first $1 million vehicle. I mean, I know it looks cool, but it's not really practical for serious grinding, and I recommend the Black Hawk as your as your first $1 million vehicle. I mean, I know I used the Volt Bike a lot on my streams, but just get the Black Hawk. It's, as your first $1 million vehicle, it's a lot better for grinding. Moving on to tip number 5, always use the minimap. Like, it's one of the most OP things that everyone just doesn't use or just doesn't know how to use. Like, whenever you see a blue dot blinking, it means there's a cop in the location, if you're a criminal. And if you're a cop, if you see a red dot blinking, then it means there is a criminal in that particular location. Okay, moving on to tip 6, always buy vehicles according to the amount of cash you have and whether you would actually, use it, and depending on your device. For example, for low-end devices with low frame rate, I would recommend getting the Airtail because it doesn't go UFO mode, aka like spin around a whole lot. Now for high-end PCs with high frame rates, I recommend the Roadster or the Bugatti Chiron. So, I mean, the Bugatti Chiron's a little bit cheaper, so maybe go for that first. I don't know, depends on where you like better, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so for tip number 7, don't buy any gun skins early in game. Like, they're just cosmetics, and in my opinion, it's a waste of cash. Okay, so for tip number 8, I do recommend getting the Black Hawk as your first $1 million vehicle, as I said before, but you should get it over the drone, and that is because, number 1, it's not towable, number 2, it has a lot of seats. It has 8 seats in fact, and 9 if the rope is included. Number 3, it has missiles and they're still useful despite them getting nerfed a lot. And number 4, it has a much higher fly height than the drone, since, if you know the drone, it flies pretty low. Okay, so tip number 9, turn on the robbery markers. Like, for non-boss pass users, it's really good for its speed grinding, and it's one of the best things with emotes add. Like, you'll know whenever the robbery is open even if you don't have the boss game pass. Really useful in my opinion. Okay, moving on to tip number 10. The taser is probably the best tool for arresting, and it can tase people from good distances even if they're on a jetpack and flying midair. Like, it's a really good tool. Okay, so for tip number 11, don't waste your cash on textures or rims or even spoilers. Like, they're all just cosmetics and it's just for looks, but I mean, if you're one of those people that, wants their stuff to look good, then go ahead, but I do recommend, spending your money on vehicles and new weapons rather than just spoilers and textures and rims, Okay, so moving on to tip number 12, and we're going on to the garage topic now. So, using black, matte, and Vanta Black colors, if you own it, is quite decent, as it's really hard to spot someone, like especially during nighttime when they have those body colors or rim colors encrypted. And now if you add a black glow, like basically no glow, it's super hard to spot people, especially when they're on a Volt Bike, and especially when it's during nighttime. Okay, so for tip number 13, it might be tempting to rob something like as soon as you escape, but I wouldn't do that. Yeah, I would recommend getting guns before you do anything else. Like, you never know when cops might show up and try to arrest you, you know? So what I'm saying is, as soon as you escape, just go get guns immediately from the gun shop. Okay, so tip number 14, this is mainly for those of you who like playing as cops a lot. So if you see someone is robbing and their vehicle is outside, just use the tow feature. Like, it's the easiest way to get their vehicle out of the way, and you can pretty easily arrest them if, you know, they don't have a getaway vehicle to drive, and if you're close to them, they can't spawn any vehicles near you, so... I mean, unless they have a jetpack, then you've pretty much got them. Okay, so tip number 15, this is the order that I recommend buying $1 million vehicles in, which I'll go ahead and put on screen right now. So as you can see, the Black Hawk is number 1, which is where you should buy first, all the way down to the Sloop, which is number 6, which you should buy last. I mean, you don't exactly have to follow this order, but this is just what I recommend. I don't know, just do what you want. Okay, so moving on to tip 16, which is the last tip that I have for this video, by the way. I'm going to be going over the top low-budget vehicles, which are the default helicopter, the Challenger, the Model 3, and the Lamborghini. Okay, so first up, why the default heli, you might ask? Well, number 1, it's free, and number 2, it can fly, which is already useful. I mean, even though you have to hijack it if you're a criminal, it's still a useful vehicle. Like, if you don't have that much jailbreak cash, then just try getting a default heli, you know? Okay, so next up here, why should you get a Challenger, you might ask? Well, number 1, it's only $59,000, which is already pretty cheap. And number 2, it's faster than quite a bit of vehicles such as the Beam Hybrid, the Audi R8, the Rattler, the Cybertruck, and the DeLorean. And for the third vehicle, which is the Model 3, I do recommend getting that because number 1, it's really cheap, only $16,000, and it's pretty quick. I'm not too sure on like the speeds on it, but I do know that it's pretty quick, so I do recommend getting that, you know, if you have a low budget. And now the Lamborghini, this is probably like the ultimate low budget vehicle because it's only $100,000 and it's probably in like the top 10 fastest vehicles, so I do definitely recommend getting that if you can get it. Okay, so that is all the tips that I have for this video. Hopefully these tips can help your gameplay experience within Jailbreak, and of course huge credit to Edmund for providing most of these tips to be presented in this video. So that's going to be it. If you did find this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if this is your first time to see me or if you have not already, and be sure to turn on notifications so that way you won't miss out on any new content. So that's going to be it for this video. Maybe I'll make a part 2 on this, I don't know, but until then, I will see you all in the next video.